Okay, are you ready? Good, okay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to this Town and Community Committee meeting on Tuesday, the 18th of June. Item 1 is apologies for absence. Received apologies from Councillor Dave Eggleton. He's still at work. Anybody else?
Tony?
Tony, oh yes, Tony has injured his hip, I believe. So he's apologised as well. And Rory is at Ascot, and Tom is not here. Great, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Seeing none. Great. Okay. Item 3, public participation. Everybody's still out enjoying the sunshine.
Very wise.
Very, very nice.
Absolutely.
Why are we here?
We'll find out shortly.
Okay, item 4, declarations of interest again.
Yeah, twice
There you
already.
go.
Are they still done?
See, just spotted it, didn't I?
I did the agenda this week, so it's my fault. And I have to say, I realise how difficult it is for me to do agendas. It's the attention to detail, and I thought I got it perfect. I must have looked at this about 1,000 times. Anyway, there you go.
So item 2, declarations of interest was a hint. This declaration of interest is the real
Yes,
declaration.
to be sure, to be sure.
Really sure.
Right, item 5, minutes. To approve the minutes of the Town and Community Committee meeting held on the 14th of May 2024. Any comments, questions, corrections?
Can I just say something? I don't know if, but I requested to be taken off Henley and Bloom. Is that?
I think
That's something later on the agenda.
Does that happen later on?
Yes,
Later
item
on.
7.
Super. Okay.
Okay, all those in favour?
Mhm.
Thank you. And then also to note the informal minutes of the meeting held to discuss the provision of banking on Tuesday, the 21st of May. Page 9. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Right, item 6 is to receive an update from the neighbourhood policing team. They're out keeping us all safe at the moment, but they have provided a written report on pages 11 and 12. So, well, Councillor Ross.
Could I ask what, it says 2 recent closure orders. Could you say a bit more about that? Closure of what?
Yes, I was wondering that as well. Do we actually know what that means?
Closure houses, pubs? What is
Well,
it?
it refers to houses.
Yeah.
I believe it, I might be wrong here, I believe it is where a property is usually, there's a vulnerable person in the property, and then they are exploited by
Yeah.
criminals, and then a closure order is put in place to stop criminals going back there and to put in safeguarding measures for the vulnerable person.
Okay, okay. So two of those here, yeah. Okay.
So on the 19th of May, there was another car meet, unfortunately, but they have issued section 59 warnings to
Yes.
5 vehicles. And they've, I think, written to the owners of another, well, it says over 18 vehicles. Not quite sure.
19.
Can we assume 19? Okay. But lastly, the top one is interesting. Online fraud and scamming continues to be a problem. Several local residents have been caught by these organised fraudsters. And the police advise, please do not give any personal details over the phone. Never give out personal bank details to unsolicited callers.
Yeah.
It would help if banks don't or organisations don't phone you up and ask you for your security details, which they do. Which they do, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I always complain to the organisations that do that, but it just encourages people to feel that it's safe to do that.
Yeah, they do.
They always say they won't ring you.
Well, they sometimes want to ring you for legitimate reasons.
They'll
Maybe they
text
suspect
you.
there's been fraud on their account, and they'll say, before we continue, I just need to clear security, and then I'll start asking you personal questions.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But my
it's
mother's so
difficult.
scared she won't even answer that, even if it's legitimate. She
Yeah.
won't give any details out. It's very tough.
But that's the
Yeah,
safe thing to do.
Of course, if you do refuse to say, okay, can you give us a call back? So
Yeah.
you've got to go through their
Yeah.
full distribution system. Waste half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, okay, so we'll,
Can I just go back to
yeah,
the,
please,
the car meet on the 19th of May?
yeah,
Did the police attend that meeting?
I don't believe they did, but I assume they got the registration numbers from Tesco camera.
If they didn't attend, why not?
Oh,
Good question.
It seems to me that as soon as they become aware of that, we would expect them to attend. And I agree that they may have, on occasions, higher priority events, but I think there should be an expectation from us and the community as a whole that these antisocial, dangerous events are attended by the police and appropriate action taken. They do have powers, and I'd like to see them commit to using that. And I'd like to know if they didn't attend, why not? I mean, these are a concern. These have been concerning our residents now for about a year, and there's no sign of them stopping. I'd also like to know, did they use the same mechanism to jam the barrier, for example? And if we're looking at whether or not that barrier can be improved. I'd also like to know whether Tesco are looking to change the landscaping of the site to make these sort of events much more difficult to hold and run in the way they do. Was there a van selling refreshments and drinks at this one again? And if so, who were they, and were they was action taken against them? So I'd like to see a bit more detail on this, and can we ask either informally? I think it's Barb's who's got the who signed this off. Can we ask her to provide some more details on what how they responded and what was the actual more details of the event itself, and whether they'll commit to attending next time, resources allowing.
would you like to propose that we write to them and ask those questions?
I would, yes, I'd like to. So I
Second.
suppose.
Second that.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, anything else? Councillor Candela?
Yes, so it's really interesting to hear about what's happened in Borley Meadows. And I'm keen to understand what do they mean by patrols will be ongoing throughout the summer months. So there was an incident on Friday, which is recognised that it was the end of year GCSE party of a local school. Hundreds of youths gathered down there. There is also a swan nest that is there by the bridge, and not only was there a lot of debris that was left, like bottles of all sorts, plastic and glass, there were a number of bottles that were around the swan nesting site as well. So not saying 1 + 1 = 2, but perhaps the swan was being thrown, targeted, so we just don't know, but evidence is that there were bottles around. And it's really not great. So I'd like to know more about what are these patrols happening going forward. And I'm also keen to know how can we liaise with the local schools to kind of explain, you know, wildlife and why it's important and why we shouldn't be throwing things at certain creatures or leave litter behind as well. So I think there's a couple of things that we can help kind of raise awareness on. Yeah, so I don't know how to find out that information.
Perhaps we can add the question on patrols to the letter, once the writersman's already proposed. Yeah. We had, you know that?
Did we ascertain who owns Forley Meadows? Is it?
Regatta.
Is the regatta? Okay.
They actually own more land on this side of the river than they do the other side.
I didn't know that really.
And sorry, also another thing, it says that the police will be out in large numbers, so please speak to us if you see anything untoward.
Yeah.
So again, what does that mean? That there'll be groups of people patrolling?
Well, usually during the regatta, the police are in Henley in quite large numbers, so I guess they're asking
They're very
to keep
visible.
our eyes open. You know, we often hear things from people because we're a target. You know, someone has a problem in town, they usually quite often come to one of us.
Yeah. And so my final comment is, it's a very helpful report, and it's great that we can see it as part of this committee. they have identified that online fraud and scamming continues to be a problem. I just wonder if they're doing any fraud scamming awareness raising. You know, do they do something to reach out to the community or communicate somehow, or is that something that we could do as part of our newsletter?
I think they do educate as much as they can. They certainly say in their report that they speak to retailers about shoplifting and things that they can do to
Yeah.
reduce the risk.
But I think this
But
is
what they
related
do
to
with
residents, though.
online fraud is a bit, it's a bit more difficult, isn't it? But I guess they put it in the report because they want us to make people aware in this
Okay.
public meeting, which is why I read out that
Mm.
paragraph. So
Is there
Well,
anything else that we can do
I
to raise
wonder.
awareness?
is there anything else we can do?
I think the only thing that is really not to give details out. I mean, I think that's the message that you need to get out. I mean, especially for, I mean, it affects all ages. I mean, you know. I mean, my friend's mother was recently scammed for £1,500. They're so clever.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. You've just got to be alert and
They're always thinking up new scams.
yeah.
It's a sort of cat and mouse game,
Yeah.
really. And inevitably, sometimes they get ahead and a few people lose
Yeah.
out.
I mean, could we include it perhaps in, as a, be alert in the Henley Town Council newsletter?
Newsletter. I think we could do
use
that.
as an
I think
opportunity?
Yeah, actually, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or even have a local police section in the newsletter, just to raise awareness of
Yeah.
accident.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I mean, that by its nature is going to people online, isn't it? So
Mm.
warning them about fraud.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote on that? Or can we just add that to the notes? Great. Okay, so let's just add that to the newsletter if we can. Give Daisy a nudge. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 7, the appointment of subcommittees, their terms of reference and membership, and this is to approve the terms of reference of the event subcommittee and to replace Councillor Miller with the mayor on the Henley and Bloom subcommittee. Is there any comments on this, or shall we just move to the vote? All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. Item 8 is the communications manager update. On page 15. I see the Adventure Golf Facebook followers has dropped by 1, but that's probably someone closing their Facebook account rather than leaving our page. At least I hope that's what it is. All the other stats are in the right direction. Councillor Dodds.
I've got quite a few questions actually.
Mhm.
When she talks about plaques, 4th line down, is she referring to Viv Greenwood's plaques?
That was my assumption.
What does she? Excellent information about the plaques around the town, and I'll make them into a leaflet.
Yeah.
Are they, what are they? What is she talking about?
Well, these are the boards that like the one outside.
The game.
Yes, that's,
Gainsborough.
yes, that's what I meant. They're the
Yeah, that's
ones
what I
with
assumed they
Greenwood's
were.
down. Yes, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
no, that's, yes, I've never really called them plaques, but I don't know what we call them, informational board.
Well, they are flags. Yeah.
Historical boards,
think
yeah,
they are,
plaques,
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
okay. Then we've got further down, there's a new display and Sunday roasts. What's that?
Where is it?
Which paragraph?
Third paragraph. I've created content for Visit Henley, including Greatly Greenweek, River Road Museum, new display and Sunday roasts.
Are they doing Sunday roasts at the River
Yeah.
Road Museum now?
Roasts.
No, I
What does
think
that
it's,
mean?
I think it's probably where you can get a Sunday.
Oh, where you
Yeah,
can
it's
get.
probably just a generic about.
If you look
Yeah.
at,
All the,
you can
all the
look at,
places that.
you can
do
look at
Sunday
most
roasts.
searched items and quite often that comes up. So I think she's trying to cater.
So the
So
river.
in fact, you're taking everyone out and
Yeah,
saying,
where to go
put
for
it
Sunday
in
roast in
and
Henley.
you'll get all these,
You get.
yeah,
some
get all
options
this lot from up.
suggested.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, okay,
it's,
yeah.
Oh, I got you,
being
yeah.
helpful.
Hmm.
This is helpful.
So,
Very good.
okey doke. The other thing I have problems with is acronyms. Yes, my understanding, the best way to handle acronyms is actually the first time you use an acronym to actually give the full explanation of it afterwards,
Yes,
and then use the acronym. That's what all
yes,
newspapers do.
I see,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so I agree.
And just lots here, I don't know what IC is.
Information.
Oh,
Took me a
right.
while to get
Okay,
that.
just the first, OFSG, don't know what that is.
Fire Station
SEO,
Gallery.
that is.
Old fire
Old
station.
fire station.
Old
gallery,
Fire Station
yeah.
Gallery, okay, but you get the point, because this is for public
Yeah.
consumption. So first time it's used should have an explanation after it, and then,
That's true, actually, so there's
Yeah.
GBGW is used.
well, I know that
And
one, Great Big Green.
Great big
We've
green,
got that
that
one.
is there, but it isn't bracketed
No,
afterwards, so you
no,
wouldn't necessarily.
The first time it's used, and then afterwards you can refer back to it, yeah.
Okay, fair.
And the last one, when she said June issue continue to perform with 56.2% open, is that people who've actually clicked on it and opened it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's very
Lovely,
good.
that's good. yeah,
That's really high.
good.
Mm.
Thank you.
Right, okay, councillor Candia?
Yeah, just say thanks to Daisy for the kind of promotion of the green side of things, that Hinton Council is involved in. I would appreciate, I mean, I'm just looking at the paper version, so I can't tell if there were hyperlinks included in the document. So it would be helpful, like if she said, if, as it has said, you know, various outlets were picked up about the no confidence in Thames Water, including BBC and The Guardian. It'd be nice to see links
That's
to
good.
go to those articles, or as well as, yeah, it's just really helpful that if there is something happening online, that a web link is included so that you can click on it and have a look. I would be interested to know that it's great that there are posters for keeping off the flowers are up, but I also wonder if there's a poster at the Adventure Goal saying, why are we having these beautiful wildflowers? You know, promoting it. I know there used to be some boards, not sure if they're as clear as they were last year. Weather damage and wear and tear, but I'd like to put a positive message up as well as keep off the flowers and, you know, because we're helping the pollinators.
Might also help educate people about the No Mow May. So Tony, Councillor Hoskins did write to me with his comments on this, and one of the things he did say was that Daisy's report, the focus is still very much online heavy, nothing really for people who are offline. It's just an ongoing concern. I know she's focused on, you know, doing websites and things at the moment, so it does make sense to a degree. But he did want me to raise it.
I know that Daisy has been doing work on the notice boards and a new map to go in the notice boards and refreshing the content on the notice boards as well.
Really good. Okay, thank you, Daisy. You're not here, but thank you anyway. Item 9, Town Centre Manager update. Good news about new businesses coming to Henley.
Yeah.
He's welcome. Councillor Candia.
Yeah, just a couple of questions from me. So the ATM, really great, that there is progress. I'm a bit confused as to where it is being placed on the way through facing by the Gardner Place.
So-
If I know where the wine shop is.
Yeah,
where is
Go
it?
through Gardner Place from Marketplace to the
Yeah.
end where the car park is, and you have Pet World on the corner.
Yes,
Pet Corner on the
Yes.
corner, and Majestic on the right.
yes,
Go round the corner,
to the left.
drop to the left, round Pet Corner,
okay,
and you'll see a seat and a planter and a seat. Like a bench.
Okay.
planter and
okay,
there,
okay, good.
You'll be going home that way, so.
yeah, you can track it.
I will go that way, yes. Is it quite well lit?
Reasonably well lit. It's also
Safety perspective,
it's
I
also
suppose.
covered by CCTV, so
Okay.
that's one of the really
Right.
strong reasons for putting it there, because I've checked with the CCTV supervisor and he can see it, that position. It's about the only, it's about the only place where I get kind of reasonably good light, power, internet and CCTV.
And so the planter then will be moved.
It'll be taken away and there'll be additional new plants planted somewhere else
Okay,
to replace them. Yeah, the parks, I've spoken to parks and they confident they've got lots of places they could replant, probably more than 2, because there's 2 fairly young plants there at the moment. There's only been there a year or two, maybe. And they're confident they've got more space where they can put even more, maybe
Okay.
double the amount of.
I'll tell you this is going to happen.
I'm starting to become quite confident,
Yeah.
but purely because I've now, so the landlord of Gardner Place is happy for it to happen. The managing agent for the Gardner Place has also come on board, and they're happy for us to, and they're helping us. They are now have had an electrician visit the site and work out a route for cabling to power the point. I've been in touch with Zoom, and Zoom have a live internet access point there, which they can make live for the thing. So all of those things have come together since we last spoke about it. The next step is to have the planter removed and to see what we've got there in terms of the space. It has been leveled so that it should be level.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a case of wiring from both sides, and then at that point it'll be ready to take
And
the.
timing, it's, well, it's never, I imagine.
Yeah,
Not gonna make regatta.
we're not going to make regatta, but you know, this is something which should hopefully be as a kind of semi-permanent you know, position there.
It'd be
We
great.
can have it there as long as we want, but it's also removable if we don't want it. If there's other solutions which come into play that are better, we don't have to worry about.
I think that's great. I think it's really encouraging to see the new businesses, potential new businesses,
Yeah.
Specsavers, Holland and Barrett. And again, I would just like to say it was very sad that David Roger Sharp jewelry shop was shut. But the Gallery Spark, I haven't seen that, so that's actually.
It's lovely.
I've not been there.
Well, if you walk that way home.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Just on Friday
It's,
Street.
Yeah.
it's really sort of
Contemporary.
Banksy type.
Contemporary art.
Yes, it's lovely.
Councillor Candice.
Is it good?
Thank you. So I just wanted to say a huge well done about reviewing bus stops and their timetables. As a potential bus user, I gave up and actually got the train to Reading because it seems to be delayed. I'm mindful that, I don't know how possible this is, but in some places you can get an electronic display that kind of gives you an indication as to how long to wait. I was trying to get to Reading one day and gave up and passed someone else who was a disabled person who had a kind of not a wheelchair, but a
Walker.
Walker, yeah.
And I found myself telling them, there's no point you waiting because it's going to be another hour. Like the one that was due wasn't arriving, and they didn't know, you know, because how would they know if they possibly didn't have the app? So I'm just mindful that the people who may be using buses might not have access to
Yeah.
a mobile phone. But it's great that the timetables are being updated, and it's brilliant that there's another bus stop being installed at Highlands Park.
It's something I really want to do because I've been up there a number of times, dropping my children off at play dates, etc. And it would really help connecting people up there to the town. I'd also like to put a notice board up there, like a town notice board.
Yeah.
I'll get the bus stop in first and we'll see.
Post box.
Yeah.
So really, this is part of doing the review for the bus service, the TK travel one. And you know, if people know when the bus is going to come, they'll get it and they'll use it more. And the numbers are on the up, and it's, you know, the speaking to the driver is becoming more and more popular.
Really?
But
Good.
if you tell people when it's coming, there will be more people coming. So yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. And sorry, just to say also that the Retailers Forum, so some of you may know we had a Greening Your Business workshop happening on the day after the Retailers Forum we met. And I think one of the things they said was also discussed was the number of different waste companies that are coming to collect their waste. And it was something like 5 different
At
waste
least, yeah.
companies. So I'm surprised that's not on here because I thought that would be an interesting thing for our committee to note, as well as to understand, you know, is there way
Yeah.
to reduce that or to make things more
It,
streamlined? Or
I
whatever?
well, I brought up as part of speaking to retailers, and as they're the ones who are kind of
Yeah.
booking, if you, for want of better words, who deals with their waste. It did get a little bit kind of not say shouted down, but you know, I got told it was probably an impossible job. So I said I was going to look at it, whether it's impossible or not. It is difficult because you have any independent store can choose who deals with their waste, and then you have a mixture of kind of small chains who may have a centralized contract, and then the larger chains have a centralized contract as well, and they're all different. So it is a very much a would like to do something about that, because it would limit the number of traffic, etc. And but whether it can be achieved is another thing.
Okay. And Mark?
And it is included within the strategic plan.
Okay.
So,
Can I just say something about the cleaning of the bus shelters? We used to have a program of. Do we still have that, or somebody was
just reviewing it now.
paid
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Going monthly
yes, to go around and clean
for
them
the
all.
rest of the year,
Yeah.
and then next year it'll be bi-monthly.
Yeah, we're going to do it monthly.
Okay,
As soon as we
yeah.
hit go, we're going to do it every month for the next 6 months, and then we're going to from January after that we'll be going to
We
the
have
other
quite
months.
a lot in the town. How many do we have?
There's quite a few.
Well,
Yeah,
12, yeah, yeah.
there was one bus shelter on Harpton Road that OCC didn't even know about.
Yes.
So he's going to put a poll there with some information on it.
That's the one that wanted to move, didn't they? Because kids used to gather there or something. It's
Yeah.
quite a political
Around the
issue.
corner, I think.
Yeah, it was
Like that.
political issue, that one.
War Memorial Way.
Yeah. And it's very timely that this came up today and that you're doing your bus shelter review, because somebody messaged me on Facebook today about the bus stop near Newtown Road.
Yes.
Newtown Road coming towards Reading, apparently you can't see out of the windows on it.
Right, yeah.
So maybe add that to your list if you've
Yeah,
not been there
we'll look at it.
already. And the one at Grays Road.
That one
near
gets
Sherwood
rough,
Gardens
doesn't it?
is,
Sherwood
in a
Gardens.
similar mess, I think.
Is that the one near the close?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sherwood Gardens,
Okay.
yeah.
At the
No,
top,
it's
with that near the
further
top
than the
shops.
close.
Yeah, near the top
shops.
Yeah.
Just
Yes,
before on the
on the
same
right,
side.
the top
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah.
Does get
I've looked at that.
graffitied
One.
and-
That needs
I think-
repairing.
I think someone's actually taken the acrylic out because the acrylic got messed up and you
Yeah.
can see through it. So
And
now it's
it's
got no
It
window.
needs repairing because it's all been bent out,
I
shaped
think
by
I've
something.
got a requesting for quote for repair as well.
Have we? On the Grays Road one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one that's got a bit.
Can we get them to have a look at the Newtown one as well if we decide that that needs doing?
We can, if you decide you want it done there, and yeah, we just get them.
Yeah, I think we might, I don't know, I've not seen it myself, I'm gonna pop and see it tomorrow, but if it needs doing, then we can get them both done at once, that's great.
the chap at OCC is very helpful.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? Okay, then we will move on to item 10, the Christmas light wiring infrastructure. Report is on page 19. So my only question on this was, is there a warranty for the work that the contractor does? See anything in there about?
Already,
Yeah. Well, as in, they install all these sockets, but something goes wrong within a year or 2 years and something keeps tripping, they come up for free and fix it.
I don't know. The thing is, they'll do the work and then they'll test it.
Yeah.
And then at some point they had and say, well, we've done the work and we've tested it and it's working as to.
Yeah, but it's really gonna be tested at Christmas, isn't it?
If it works one day, it should work the next.
You'd like to hope.
I'd like to have. Well,
In that case, they won't mind giving a guarantee.
Exactly.
we also have a contractor which, who does the Christmas lights.
Yeah,
And he's always very helpful.
but it does say in here that because we kept calling them out last Christmas, because it kept going wrong, they kept charging us. And we were incurring costs, so if there are problems this year, I want to make sure that we don't incur any costs. Especially since we're going for the more expensive of the quotes.
It would seem sensible to ask for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warranty.
Can do it.
thank you. Any other comments on this? Councillor Kandaya?
Yes, so there is a line on here about biodiversity and, yes, although it is relying it is mentioning the electrical infrastructure, but the electrical infrastructure is being put in for Christmas lights. And there is a known biodiversity negative impact. Artificial lights on wildlife, so I'm just noting that.
Any other comments? Okay, so, all those in favour of recommendation 5.1? Unanimous, thank you. And.
Yeah, sorry, that should have been subject to the guarantees.
Yes.
Yes, subject to guarantee. Yeah. Okay. Still electrical stuff. There's Olympics event 2024, so he was going to speak to this, but obviously can't. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. This is an event which the mayor is keen to put on. Originally, there was an idea to do an event for the town around the regatta. So this is showing regatta races in the centre of town to bring the regatta into the centre of town a bit more. Unfortunately, the Royal Regatta team weren't ready to capable of giving us the feed this year. We're going to have a look at that for next year. So we decided that as this is an Olympics year, that we would move the event to the Olympics time, which is at the end of July. And so what we're planning is a similar event, so big TV screen in the centre in Marketplace for 5 days, I think it is, from the 31st of July until the Sunday the 4th. Predominantly in the mornings and up until about lunchtime, showing the rowing, which I believe we have a number of 25 competitors from Henley who are hoping to be medal winners. So we should, as a town, be able to get behind those and others, and then for the rest of the day, showing events in the Olympics. And really, it's a town centre event to bring people into town to stay and enjoy the public space, to use the shops and cafes and bars, and to encourage a community spirit. And I think it could be really great.
Yeah.
So what dates were that? Were they again?
It's Wednesday 31st until Sunday the 4th.
It's an anonymous donor.
Oh, it's a donor.
Yes.
Oh, we love an anonymous
Yes,
donor.
we do.
Not for the first time.
No, I know it isn't.
Donated this screen to us. That's very helpful.
I take it this won't affect any of the markets or anything like that. Nothing.
So we'll integrate it into the market. So
Yeah.
the screen will be there. It's a smaller screen to the one that we had before.
Yeah.
It's still a good size, but we'll just position it different to the market, which is only on from obviously early morning to about
Yeah.
2 o'clock or something. And we'll be able to
Really?
rejig
It's a big
everything.
screen like the combination.
Smaller.
Slightly smaller.
Smaller. It comes on the back of a pickup truck with a trailer and drops it off and sets it up. So it's less intimidatingly sized, but it's still good.
That's lovely. Well, thank you.
So I
for
think
arranging.
it's
Yeah.
going to be a good event. More information to follow. This is just really an event which we're announcing and a date.
Thank you. Councillor Callahan?
Yeah, thank you. No, it's always great to be bringing people into the centre of Henley. I'm just keen to understand what or how we're going to deal with rubbish or potential increase in rubbish. There were some Facebook photos on Sunday morning showing a lot of litter strewn across Sunday morning after the football. That's right, yeah. And that was without a big screen in the centre.
Yeah,
of Henley, so,
when we
yeah.
do big events such as the Christmas festival, we organise lots of extra bins. Actually,
Including recycling bins.
yeah. There's a mixture. So we'll just do that as what we do with most events, and so there's additional bins on. They don't look that pretty, but they do the job very well.
Also, I will have to point out again that the park staff and local bin collection teams did have the town looking spotless again by 10 AM
Yeah.
today, so that was great. Okay,
Yes, I saw that.
yes, I think that ended up being the most popular thing I've ever posted on Facebook.
They're lovely photos.
Anyway.
The town looks stunning.
They did, yeah, Daisy asked me for those photos, I've shared them all with her.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so item 12 is finance. Now, I think if I read this correctly, we're currently £11,000 up or ahead. Is that what that means?
Well, that is for the end of March.
Yes.
For the last, but that's for the last year.
It may change
Yes,
once we
indeed.
have our electrics fixed, I assume.
Well, that'll be this.
That is it. That is.
That's factored in, is it? Okay.
Of course, being 11,000 to the good can mean one of two things. It means that we've saved money and been prudent, or it's we failed to incur costs by not doing something that we wanted to do. And I'm not sure which that is.
Let's go with the first one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about. It seems to me a big difference between the budget and what actually happened was the economic development. And what was that budget set aside for? And I presume there was something we didn't do that we thought we might do. Do we know what that was? There's a 15,000 difference there.
Yeah. This isn't anything to do with the tourism consultant, is it? Is
No,
that
so
this
the
budget?
economic development budget is 16,000
Yeah.
set aside for an action plan to contribute towards the circular economy and supporting businesses.
Mhm.
And it's town centre manager's budget.
Ah,
So Paul didn't spend it.
Yeah.
That's because I keep saving money by getting things for free.
I think that's
Well, let's say that this can be good news or bad news. So I'm pleased to hear that events are showing a profit.
I believe there is a plan in place for this spending this year's
Yeah.
budget, including Christmas huts.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
a few other
So
things.
that's right, the Christmas huts coming out of this, which is 6,000. Yeah,
But last year you got quite a lot of sponsorship for the Christmas.
not for the Christmas, we didn't do the Christmas huts before, we did Christmas festival.
Yeah, but
That's decoration.
the other aspects of the festival last year did get sponsorship,
Yeah.
which meant that we spent
Yeah.
a lot less
Yeah.
than our
Brilliant.
expenditure was
That's right,
purely.
yeah.
So
And the Christmas festival,
yeah.
yeah, so it has its own budget, but yeah, so the things like the Christmas huts and the Christmas market, which we do, will dig nicely into that.
yeah,
And if I hadn't got the TV for the other
Yeah.
event paid for, we would have been, well.
yeah, that would have been a chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I was relieved. But
yeah. The sponsorship's been pretty good in the last 12 months. You've
Yeah.
achieved a fair amount.
my, yeah, if you ask the question, people give you an answer either way, as to whether they want to support something or not.
Yeah.
So I tend to ask the question.
This has been very successful.
okay, so that's the comments on finance. We'll move to our second item 12. which is Progress. Another deliberate error. Actually, it's been removed from progress, but the first thing I'd like to do before I forget is make a proposal. That we write to the town, to the Angel on the Bridge and Breakspear. To express our appreciation for the beautiful renovation work recently carried out.
Yes.
And to thank them for installing the baptism we requested. It has greatly improved the area around Singers Park.
Yeah,
Second,
Definitely. Oh, yes.
so those in favour, thank you very much. That's actually been removed from progress already, which is very efficient. Things that are still on progress, however, I did have a question on the bins. How many have actually been delivered?
Oh, 11.
11.
Now, yeah, and the parks team hopefully are going to start installing them tomorrow.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
So very timely.
Yeah,
Is that how many we've ordered? 11?
we ordered 10 of the
Okay.
single, double size.
Yeah,
Single ones,
Yeah.
and they gave us an extra one free.
lovely.
So we've got 11, and hopefully they'll be in
Very nice.
soon.
Like that.
maybe that could go through our stage as well.
Okay, the other comment I had was the town accessibility. So the audit was going to be carried out. We've looked into it, discussed it, and decided it's not cost effective currently.
Yeah.
That situation.
Shall I elaborate?
Please.
Yes.
Kelly brought it up at a meeting, I think, a few
Yeah.
months ago. I looked into it. and found a company which did it.
Mhm.
I told Kelly how much it was, and she said that sounds extortionate. Let's not do it.
Right, okay,
And it was a lot of money. I can't remember the figure.
right.
I think the difficulty is that then whatever recommendations are coming out of that,
You've
you
got
also
to
need to
actually-
fund.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they will probably be physical changes to pavements and roads, which
They
would
would
be
Extremely broad ranging.
extremely expensive. Which
Yeah.
doesn't say that ideally they wouldn't be done, but you're probably talking very, very large
Mm,
amount of work.
yeah.
yeah, okay, so we'll remove that from progress for now then. Only other thing was the Marshall footbridge, still no progress from the Environment Agency. I'm sure surprises absolutely nobody. I mean, how often are we sort of harassing them at the moment? We do it again.
When did we last write to them?
Any last one? Is that,
I'd say if it was less than, if it was more than 2 months ago,
Then
and we haven't heard
No.
anything back.
it was 1 month ago, I think. At least that
Right.
was the date of the last update.
And who wrote to them? Was that from
That's from the town
HTC?
council. was it?
Town council, right.
Yeah.
We get Rory to,
Yeah,
the mayor on it. I'm just wondering if we could push it a bit more.
Well, perhaps when we have a new MP, that
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can ask the successful candidate to apply pressure to the Environment Agency, perhaps through the ministry.
yes. Good call.
Good question.
Okay.
Maybe we could ask them at the Hastings meeting whether they will support.
Does anybody else have any comments on progress? Councillor Rice?
The repair cafe.
Yeah.
A friend of mine works at the Chelsea Repair Cafe and the Wallingford Repair Cafe, which they alternate once a month. And he said there was a Goring Repair Cafe as well, and they had an excess of volunteers. So I would suggest that we contact the Goring Parish Council and ask them if anyone would like to volunteer and join our repair cafe, try and make it viable.
Good idea.
Okay.
That's right to Gorin.
And yeah, say those 2 repair cafes are quite successful.
Excellent.
And the location we're looking at is the Scout Hut, is it?
It was the YMCA.
That was
Or
one.
YMCA now, is it? Yeah, okay.
what happened to the over 60s? Sorry, that was a,
Yes, it wouldn't work.
No.
In fact, we've got someone else on the Saturday now, they're
Okay.
giving maths people are coming midday now, so
yeah,
it clash.
but the YMCA is good, it's got parking.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think it needs
I thought
parking.
Scout Place was good one too.
Yeah.
Councillor Candler.
Yeah, so the environmentally sustainable events, so I understand no further progress has been made. I'm just wondering what steps you could take to explore what environmentally sustainable events could be. Like, I'm wondering what would help this be progressing.
I don't know. You tell me.
Well,
I've done the work on the generators and
Yes.
found kind of no real solution there.
no,
It's a real toughie.
it is.
It is really, really tough.
Depends.
I think we've already done quite a good job by encouraging people to use cleaner, quieter generators. And
Yeah.
so we've done a lot to combat plastics, single-use
Yeah.
plastics as well.
Yeah,
So I think we've already done quite a lot.
Yeah.
What further things we could do?
it's policing it. This is one of the problems we have for a lot of our events, is
Yeah.
you say, okay, we don't want this, we don't want that, but 9 times out of 10, they, you know, they do try it on and.
We definitely, certainly for the Christmas event, we definitely need somebody who is allocated to go and to see what generators are being
Yeah,
used.
yeah.
Not to go around telling anybody off, just to assess what is
Yeah,
currently being used.
yeah.
I think that's entirely reasonable.
I don't think we're alone as a council trying to make our events as sustainable as possible, so I think there could be some opportunity to liaise with other councils. And I'd be happy to send on some links that I have
Yeah.
out to you.
Please, yeah, that'd be great.
Excellent. Any further
I
comments?
mean, ideally, we really want to wire up the streets that are used so that so that we don't need any fossil fuel generators at all, and all the electricity is provided by cable rather than generated.
Yeah, that would be ideal, but the problem we discussed this before, didn't we?
Yeah.
The issue is that we could put wiring on Bell Street and Duke Street and Hart Street, but it'd be used for one night a year.
Yeah.
It costs a phenomenal amount
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah,
And also, you don't necessarily put a stall right next to where the electricity is. It might just be just down there.
Mm.
And the beauty with having your own power source is you can put it anywhere, and that's the issue. And that, you find that with big festivals and everything. A stage or a stall, they want their power right next to them. So they've
So
got reliable
marketplace,
power, so-
which is used frequently, we have mains dotted all over it, so that is quite well covered.
So when we discussed this last time, did we, if the marketplace is covered, then there should be no generators at all on marketplace.
It's covered to a limited
Yeah.
extent. You couldn't power, you can't power every single stall of
I
that.
think we can power 2 fairground attractions,
Yeah.
can't we, without it blowing.
We literally have 2 electric points in
Yeah.
the marketplace, we've got 2 plugs in each, so that's.
I thought we had 3, didn't we?
No, one's used only for Christmas tree,
Ah,
so we don't use it for anything else but for Christmas. tree.
Very, very limited.
It's limited,
Yeah.
there's not enough.
Well, actually, at the last market, like just last week, actually, I saw that they were running extension cables through those ducting, that you can walk over. So they were clearly sharing the power.
Yeah.
But at some point that reaches its capacity and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Extending the marketplace scheme though, it is viable, and that wouldn't have the element as once a year, because it would be possibly several times a
I
week.
think that's entirely fair enough.
So that might be a more feasible approach. Okay, Bell Street and Hart Street might not be viable.
So if you're going to extend the marketplace.
Yeah.
Can the one that's in the middle be moved at the same time? Because that the black thing down the bottom is in a really silly place. right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so if you were going to go to the expense of extending, it's probably worth adding that bit of expense to move that one into a more sensible, maybe put a bigger one in there or something. but
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
an
good.
edge.
I think that's a good idea, I think, looking into that.
Well, we're about to have lots of electrical work now.
Yeah.
Could we get them to,
I wouldn't like to.
have we had a look at
complicate
the vote for
it. Do
the
one job and get back.
fixing of marketplace, if they do a good job on.
But I think we imagine doing it in not in the immediate future, but in the medium term. But I'd like us to commit in principle to looking at whether or not marketplace can be extended so that there are no generators allowed in marketplace.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable goal to have.
Yeah.
There might be certain situations where a generator is needed for a certain power supply or a certain truck or something.
I'm not aware of the generator needing to be used during markets at all.
No, during the markets, we don't use any generators.
So again, we would be talking once, twice yeah, I mean, we're really just looking at Christmas.
What
Well,
about the
Mayfair,
food
maybe.
outlets, the warm food outlets at the market though?
They
They,
use the electric.
oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
How? They plug into it. The plug.
The heat, their ovens or
Sure, it's
grills.
We've got 2 outlets.
Oh, it
electric.
depends which
Some
one, yeah,
have.
some have gas, some
Yeah.
have gas, but the ones that use electric, they just have long extension cables and. cover them. There's only a few that use it.
Yeah.
So again, you'd only be doing it for a couple of times a year at the moment.
Dealing up with marketplace.
Yes,
Yeah,
we get
maybe
more
it's
events in
something
the
we
town.
need to assess actually, just
Yeah.
how it's being used now, what could be improved.
There is a related subject of the car park. I mean, every night when I walk home, I walk past a noisy generator that's producing a lot of carbon dioxide and pollution. I'd like to see that electric. I'd see. I know it's the district council's car park,
Yeah.
but they have electric charging points in there, so there's clearly electric supply. I would rather see that van not making a noise and producing pollution.
Presumably,
I remember talking about this many years ago, and we talked about perhaps making a space available in Marketplace, which would be more suitable at the moment. It takes a nonce park. It's parked up in there, and there isn't a space for it.
presumably SODC have granted a license to that business to operate from their car park.
I don't know.
Maybe
I've no
they
idea.
could, invest in a power supply for him.
I know we engaged with Mo a few years ago, and
Mm.
he wasn't keen to change his business model, but I suspect we didn't apply enough pressure.
I do remember there was talk about moving into the marketplace.
Yes, that's
I
right.
was never for that. I think it's-
That may be the wrong
Yeah.
approach, but I think
Yeah.
we should be looking to avoid having a noisy, polluting generator in the middle of town for several hours most evenings.
I can't imagine why he'd object to that.
No, I can't imagine
We
why.
don't
either.
need the
Yeah.
generator if we provide power.
Yeah.
It's better for everybody, isn't it?
And to say that was before we got to electric vehicle charging points, which might change the game.
Yeah.
So that could be included in in our plans for the future.
Should we invite the district council and make a request?
Yes, that's not a bad idea actually, because now we have the district council is much more, I think, focused on the environment, both climate change and pollution, and may take a more engaged approach. I think we couldn't really get much interest out of them a few years ago when
No.
because I can't remember if you were probably on the council at the time.
Mhm.
So yeah, it might be worth raising it with them and asking them if they have plans to help modernise that aspect of the town centre's commercial side.
Okay, do we want to write to them as the town council, or do we just ask our district council representatives to move forward with that?
We haven't got district council rep here, have we?
They're not here to defend themselves, so.
I think we'd ask district councils to do that. If they're
Yeah,
reluctant, we
yeah.
can write as a council just
Yeah.
to the officers, but asking the district council officers to do that, I think it's a good idea.
I think we'll do that. Councillor Candian?
Yeah, thank you. I do want to express my disappointment at the town accessibility audit. I do understand the reasons why that were given. I'm just wondering if there are any informal comments that we have had through the reporting issue on the town council website. I've noticed, bearing in mind the age group of Holly, like I can see a few people around. I'm just surprised that there hasn't been any kind
Yeah.
of touch points that, you know, have been flagged as needing addressing. So I know we were.
Somebody must have raised it with councillor Hinton in the first place.
It was her dad, wasn't it?
Was it? Ah, yeah, that makes
It-
sense.
Can someone explain very briefly what it is?
Oh, good. I'm glad you asked that.
Because I've missed all this out, so I've had no
Dad
idea.
was over from
Spain?
Spain,
The Kelly's
and
here.
has mobility
Okay.
problems. And so he was in a wheelchair.
Are we talking about access into the town hall?
Into
I
the
don't know,
town.
just with him,
Around
so
the
she
town.
spent a
Oh, I
week
see.
Showing
with your
him
dad
around.
around and
Yeah.
realised.
It's quite hard pushing people in a wheelchair around. So
Yeah.
the Helen Society did that
Yeah.
a few months
It's like
ago.
you know, because
Yeah,
you've had crutches and things.
Yeah.
It's not to you in that situation. Yeah, so she realised how there's not drop curbs everywhere, really.
No.
There are lots of narrow, awkward bits of pavement there, you know.
yeah.
Pinch-
So that's
Which
very
is
painful.
understandable for our market town, like I get it. It's just, I'd be interested to know if there are any previous issues, like, is this a known issue? Like more than one person, you need to have more than one person reporting it.
Sitting next to the information centre as I do, I don't hear that many people
Mm.
coming in and raising issues
No.
about it. But
Can they get,
They're going to get to me and complain.
what?
can they physically get to the?
Yes, the canvas.
Yeah,
but then-
I
It's
see.
a lift, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's something that happens all the time, but
Yeah.
there obviously are issues, and we've had people with visually impaired people raising issues and stuff like that. But I think this is more a kind of like looking at the town as a whole and saying, is it easy to get from A to B, even from the train station to town?
I think it's a very
But
very
it's a huge
difficult,
piece of work.
I think it is
Project
slowly
to-
improving when there is opportunity to improve it. So there was a new development of houses at the top of Grays Road.
Yes,
They
I was thinking of that
as a
one.
Part of that, they widened the pavement. It was a narrow pinch point. Now it's a nice wide pavement.
yeah.
The changes we did with pedestrianisation and traffic in the town
Yeah.
widened the footpaths of
Yeah,
Bell Street and Duke Street. I think when these opportunities come up, we do try to make these improvements.
yeah.
So the town has been improving over the years.
I think because you know, our folk are living a lot longer and many now are in, chairs or mobility scooters, perhaps we should think about having another lane
Yeah.
and roads.
Love a cycle
Just
lane.
for mobility.
Well, I mean, the Highlands development, they actually did a lot of work on the Blandy Road footpath.
Yeah.
Fix that up. That's really quite nice now. Very
That's right.
much more usable than it was.
Yeah,
I know I requested years ago, in response to the housing developments near Shiplake, that they complete the footpath all the way to Henley. That
Yeah.
hasn't
Yeah,
been-
cycle path.
There is space to do that,
yeah,
A cycle
Yeah.
path between here
Yeah.
and Shipley would be
Link.
brilliant.
yeah,
which would have helped with the diversion of the
Yeah.
yeah.
Thames
Absolutely.
path as
Yeah.
well.
I think the biggest problem that we have, accessibility with, if you're in a wheelchair or crutches or whatever, is the A-boards when
Yeah.
they're, you know, they're in the middle of the pavement, but I fully, got nothing against A-boards, because I think, everyone's trying to, trying to make a living. As long as people aren't actually blocking the pavements completely, because then you've got people that can't, that are blind perhaps, or have mobility problems, that's when,
Families pushing.
Yeah.
when they're,
Buggies.
yeah, of course, I mean, I had twins and it was a nightmare, but
I think that's also a situation that's improved in recent years.
yeah,
Businesses being more thoughtful about where they put their ables.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.